So welcome to episode 20 of Generation 2 of the Perfect Genetics Challenge. Don is in Mountain Lake and he's staying with his ex-daughter-in-law Carla and his grandchildren and their imaginary friends made real. In the previous episode, we had 8 birthdays. 4 of them were grandchildren of Don and Olivia, and 4 were the imaginary friends made real of those grandchildren who just aged up. All of the 8 newly aged up teens are working hard on their potions at the chemistry tables. I've only got, I think it's 5 chemistry tables out, so they've got to take it in turns, but they will eventually all get all 10 potions and they'll get their logic up to level 10 as well. And apart from their potions, I'll get them to do some fishing and a few other skills, and they'll read a lot of books, but we won't have to watch them do it all because I want to get Don into the house across the road during this episode, because that is where James is, and James is Don's son, and he's the father of the 4 children, and he has divorced Carla, and now he is in a serious relationship with a plant sim. So we're going to go and see just what's going on over there towards the end of the video. While they were waiting for their turn at the chemistry table, 2 of the young imaginary friends made real decided to work on their fishing skill, and they went to Verde Park. That is Pixie, and she's inappropriate, and the other is Louis, and he was the last one to age up to teen. Now, while they were at Verde Park, I spotted a couple of Sims that I didn't expect to see today. They are Owen, who is the 3rd child of Don and Olivia, and he is obviously Cindy's elder brother and the younger brother of James and Gary. And Don's at James's house at the moment, although James doesn't live there anymore, but his children do, and his ex-wife. Now over here on the stage, sitting on the seat, are Owen and Mabel, and Mabel is the plant sim that James is having a very serious relationship with. Back at home, we see Jimmy chatting with Summer and Amelia chatting with Riley. And Summer, of course, is one of the imaginary friends born in game who were at Gary's place when Don was there. And she and her 2 sisters were learning skills. They've since gone back to their parents, Chaz and Prue Walker. And Riley, who's standing over near the door, he is Denise's imaginary friend made real. And Denise, of course, belongs in Appaloosa Plains. She is travelling with Don, her grandfather. Now, Jimmy and Amelia are children of James and Carla, Don's grandchildren. Now, Summer has gone downstairs and she's bumped into Betty, and Betty is another one of the children of James and Carla. She's one of the quads that's just aged up to teen. Summer's visiting after she came home from school with some of the teens belonging to the household. And there is Denise's twin brother Daryl washing some of the glasses that he found at the bar. Is to see that sink is nice and clean today. I see there's only 4 chemistry tables, but that'll do. And I've got 3 showers there as well because they get singed and they can't keep working on the chemistry table when they're singed. So they have a quick shower just next to the tables. And that's Jimmy just had a shower, and Pixie's there with the computer under her arm. That's Byron, the blonde sim she was talking to. And Byron is the imaginary friend made real of Daryl. Those pink doors go into the bedrooms. And here we are looking down so we can see the bedrooms. There's 8 of them. There are pairs of bedrooms with a bathroom between them in the corner. And you can just see there's on the left and in the middle and then on the right and to the bottom. The Sims are locked out of every bedroom other than their own. The Sim from each bedroom can only get into the bathroom one way. They can't get into the other bedroom that they're joined to. There are other bedrooms upstairs that came with the original house, and Carla sleeps up there. Plus I think there's 1 or 2 extra spare bedrooms. They've all got lots of reading to do, and they can go fishing down at the lake just down behind where the houses are. That looks like Betty and Amelia there today. They're sisters, daughters of James and Carla, Don's granddaughters. They're close to home. The houses are just at the top of the hill there behind them. And there is Daryl doing his favourite thing, dancing to the music in the little art room. Towards the left of where he's dancing is another pink door into one of the bedrooms. The visiting Sims are taking advantage of any of the skilling objects that they don't have at home but have in the household that they are currently visiting. And there is Byron. He's learning to climb on the climbing wall. That came in a set from the store. It looks like Betty and Riley are getting along very nicely together. It's a shame they won't be spending very much more time together because Riley will be moving on when Don moves across the road and eventually returns to Appaloosa Plains. Betty is a flirty sim, and that might be why they're flirting there at the moment, because I think Riley and Denise are very good friends and there could be something brewing there, so we might even get a bit of conflict, who knows. Here we go, there's some of them there still working. That's Amelia on the left. I'm not sure who the other two are, but we'll all get to learn all 10 of the potions and get to level 10 in logic in the process. And Riley's now moved on to learn a bit about the bot building skill. He's trying to make some nanites at the moment. That clothes drying frame there, I think it came from ATS3, but I'm not sure. It is custom content. It works as a clothesline. Louis found a quiet spot to sit and read while he waits for the chemistry table to become available. And Carla's reading upstairs in the original part of the house, which I did refurnish a bit. And she's not in her swimsuit at the moment, which is a surprise. Looks like they've got a visitor. Looks like they've got 2 visitors, both originally from Moonlit Falls. I originally made Carla especially for James, and they got married and had all these babies, but I don't know what happened while I wasn't playing. He's gone off somewhere and they've got divorced, but I never gave her much training. She's pretty much like a brand new sim, so whenever we visit I try to get her to do a little bit of study. And there is Percy, her boyfriend. Percy is James's much younger brother. I haven't really seen Carla and Percy together much, but I have discovered that neither of them know any of the traits of the other one, so I'm not sure how long this romance will last. But they are currently officially boyfriend and girlfriend. The game did that. I had nothing to do with it. And here's Don doing the laundry. He's going to hang it on that clothesline, I think. And Don, of course, is Percy's father. And Percy has inherited Don's green skin. James didn't inherit Don's green skin. He inherited Olivia's blue skin. And there is Abracadabra, the little laundry gnome sitting in the middle of the floor. I just dragged it out of the way. It was blocking Don's access to the little clothesline there. The little clothesline is full, so Don's going to have to move the rest of the washing into the clothes dryer and get it dry that way. Carla needs to have one more baby to be able to get her lifetime wish, which is to raise a child from baby to teen. She's family oriented. I'm wondering if she and Percy produce a baby, if it'll have green skin. Most of her children, 3 of them have got her coloured skin, but one has blue skin like James. And if she gets into a proper romance with Percy, she could get a green one as well. Who knows? It looks like I'm going to have to move that light so she can continue cooking. So here we are. All of the children went to school, the children and the teens, and they waited outside and they all filed carefully, one by one, into the school building. And as soon as they got inside, they turned around and ran out again and got onto the bus and went to the science facility because it was a field trip day, and that's what they do on field trip days. They get into the school and then they run straight out and jump on the bus. They had to go to the science facility this day. It looks like Daryl's decided to skip school on this day. Lucky I was watching them. I was able to tell him to go to school, and he did. Maybe he's doing his homework, which was late. In any case, I think he was too late for this field trip on that day. He just had to stay at the school and do some learning. No sooner had he gone through the door to go into class than the bus arrived and his classmates emerged and all headed for the bus and the science centre. I watched carefully as they came out of the building to get onto the bus, and Daryl was not among them. There's Denise. She got there to go. That's his twin sister. And here it is, the bus has arrived at the science facility and everybody's piling out of it in a hurry, and they're rushing into the building, all excited on their field trip at the science facility. They're going to learn all about science and some fishing as well. Well, we'll leave them there and we'll catch up with them later on. Actually, I think it's gardening that they learn at the science facility, but I'm not sure if their skill increases though. Looks like Summer's come home from school with them again, and there is Louis there at the at the chemistry table, and he was the last one to start learning, so we must be getting very close to the end of them needing to make potions. And Ralph, with the red hoodie, went home with Sophie Rogers. Sophie Rogers Musgrave. And Linda Rogers has married a Musgrave who is a vampire. And she's got 2 little toddlers who are vampires, a boy and a girl. They must be twins. And of course, me being me, I want to train them. I'll see what I can do. I might just cheat and give them their basic toddler skills with Master Controller. Sometimes I like to go and see the inside of the homes of Sims when Sims from my household go home from school with them. I think it's a good opportunity to have a look around. He's enjoying his pillow fight with Sophie Rogers. Of course, if you've got Moonlit Falls, you'll know her. She's the little fairy with the pink wings is always there. She's one of the townies, her and her mother. Her mother wasn't married to this Musgrave guy. I think it's David Musgrave originally, but she's apparently during the game, she's got married to him and had these toddlers. Might just be in this game that I'm playing now that she's got them. And in the last episode of this video series, Linda Musgrave Rogers, Sophie's mother, that you can see there with her toddler, spent most of the episode visiting with Carla. Here we are a bit later and Ralph's gone home. He's sitting there reading recipes or skill books with Francine, Jimmy and Riley. All of the teens in the household set off for the night at the prom. I wonder what trouble they get themselves into there. That fairy with the blue wings is their cousin Charlie from next door. And here they are arriving at the school for their dance night, all wearing their best outfits. I'm sure a wonderful time was had by all, but we'll just catch up with them as they are arriving home from the prom. Still done up in their best outfits. And in case you're wondering, there are 12 teens in this household at the moment. There is the 4 sons and daughters of Carla and James, and then the 4 imaginary friends of the sons and daughters of Carla and James, plus 2 more of Don's grandchildren. It's Denise and Daryl that have travelled here from Appaloosa Plains with Don to meet up with their cousins, and the imaginary friends of Denise and Daryl, that would be Riley and Byron. Denise and Daryl are the eldest twins of Cindy and Bill, and Cindy is Olivia's heir, and Cindy has an heir who is one of the younger pair of twins that she had with Bill, her husband. So we've got quite a lot of young Sims that have just been and had a wonderful night at the school prom. And their lives go on, continually heading off to school each day during the week and doing lots of reading and learning of skills when they finish their homework each day. And this will continue until they have learned all the skills they need to know and have read all the recipes they need to read according to their level of cooking and whatever other skill books that I decide they should know about. And while the children are at school, Carla stays home because she is a professional author. But today she's discovered that most of the computers have been broken, so she's going to spend a few hours trying to repair them all, and then she might get to work, continuing to write her current book. After several hours of hard work, she finally gets them all working again. And then Don comes in and starts playing a computer game. She decides she'd better get to work writing that book. Eventually, Carla finished the book she'd been writing, and then she decided she'd start on a new one. When she had to change computers to do that, of course, why stick with the same computer all day when you've got a choice of so many? Eventually the teens all came home from school again, and they did their homework. They just sit down. Most of them do it straight away, but I've got to check. And I do a final check every morning when they're hopping on the bus. If they have done their homework, I tell them to talk with friends. If they haven't done it, there's a work on late homework option, and they do that instead. And then I check on them during the day and make sure they have completed their homework. And once they have done that, I tell them to talk with friends again. And they still seem to get to grade A at school fairly quickly. And sometimes the teens just have some fun together. They don't have to work all the time. And here is Pixie and Betty out the backyard in the middle of the night playing catch with the ball. And you see that little house that I built in the middle of the yard there? I decided they needed an extra spiral staircase to go down, because when the bus is coming for them to go to school, there's just too many of them to get up that one spiral staircase, especially if somebody decides to come down the staircase while the teens are all rushing to get off to school and not miss the bus. Carla seems to have got into this fixing mode, and here she is repairing the TV. They've got 2 TVs. I think that's a TV she's working on. Nicholas Macduff has come home from school with them this time. He's another townie from Moonlit Falls, and that's Francine in the kitchen with her mother, just having a little chat. And then suddenly the room is full of teens. There's Betty. And that's Amelia coming to chat with Nicholas. Or maybe they're having a slight disagreement by the look of it. And Ralph. Oh, and there's Denise sitting on the chair. She's been watching the little TV that Carla just repaired. And now we'll say goodbye to this household, because Don and Denise and Daryl and Riley and Byron are going across the street to the other house, the house where James is staying with his friends. It's an interesting household. You're going to meet quite a variety of Sims in that house. It's a house that I built too. It's in my studio on the Exchange if you want it. There's no custom content in it. I built it before I put any custom content on my computer. Looks like Denise and Riley are getting on well. There they are, sitting on the footpath watching the stars together. Last time I had a pair of Sims from the main household doing this as teens, they ended up married with children, and that was Prue and Chaz. One of the interesting things about this household is there are at least 2, possibly 3 romances going on, and 2 of them, the 2 definite ones, are very serious, and I strongly suspect there could be a wedding or 2 before we move back to Appaloosa Plains. Most of the Sims who live in this household are imaginary friends made real, but there are 2 plant Sims, including Mabel, who we see standing on the footpath there near Don, and there's the other plant Sim is a hybrid fairy, and she's evil. The 2 children in this household should have aged up to young adult long ago, but we're going to age them up to teen soon. This is Connie. She is an imaginary friend made real, and her previous owner was Mateo. And Mateo is also an imaginary friend made real, and I have no idea how he got an imaginary friend in his pocket. And Connie is visiting Donna's place, and this is where Connie and Mateo originated. They just moved out of here to make room when Donna married Gary, and they ended up in the house down the street. And this is Marigold Flower. She is the evil plant sim fairy child who also started life at Donna's place. And this is Julia Flower. She is the other child in this household, and she's at home working on discovering a potion. And she is the imaginary friend made real of the evil Marigold. I will be making a few changes to the layout down here, adding more chemistry tables and better lighting. And here's Mabel dancing to the sunflower. This is a little internal garden that they have. Everything is small in this house because I originally made it for a smallish lot. I think it fits on a 20 by 20 lot, but in this game I've got it placed on a much larger lot. That was the lot that was available, but it gives them more room outside. This is Bobby Walker. I think he must be visiting because he doesn't belong in this house. He's an imaginary friend made real. You'll see him around town a bit, and he came from the main household when they were still in Moonlit Falls. The wishing well is in the bottom basement of this house, I'm just trying to give you a bit of a look around so you get a feel for it. We're really only going to check out the basements in this episode. There's not enough time to do the whole house. So that's Bobby sitting down. He's making himself quite at home. At first I thought he must live here, but he doesn't. He's got his own home. He lives in a house by himself. That wall is hiding the walls of a swimming pool. Aha, so that must be where the little evil fairy sleeps, little Marigold. And here's Connie. She's upstairs on the next level, the second bottom basement. And on this level they've got a dance floor and an indoor swimming pool. And a few other things, of course, but that's the main features of the second bottom basement. Bobby is certainly making himself at home, sitting down there to play their piano now. Connie seems to be happy enough to provide him with an audience of one. Somewhat later, Connie started playing the bass and she had an audience of two. There is Mabel and the evil little Marigold. They seem to be enjoying watching her play. Suddenly, Marigold decided to leave when Mabel's boyfriend James showed up. That's the first time we've seen him, and Marigold has ignored Connie now and is greeting James in the way that he likes to be greeted by Marigold. I'm wondering why James and Carla broke up. I don't know who went first or if they just mutually decided that it wasn't working, and I'm keen to find out if these two get married, if they have babies, just what those babies will turn out like, because I've never had a plant sim have a baby in my game. The only way I've got to plant sims before has been either making them in Create a Sim and then giving them a potion, or planting a forbidden fruit seed. But I have heard that they don't have a pregnancy, just like the other sims do, so I'm intrigued. I wonder if it's even possible for a plant sim and a human sim to have a baby together. I guess we'll find out. They seem to be pretty serious, and having now looked at the relationship between James and Mabel and the relationship between Carla and Percy, James's relationship with Mabel is a lot more advanced than Carla's relationship with Percy. So I'm thinking that James ran off with Mabel a long time before Carla got involved with Percy. Next morning, James was up early and had breakfast, and then he decided he'd clean up the kitchen because it needed a bit of attention. He's smiling. He seems quite happy with himself and where he is at the moment. Later that day, while James was at work and the teens and children were at school, Don took the opportunity to have a few words with Mabel. He thought he needed to try to understand what was going on and if she was likely to become his future daughter-in-law. I guess they need to work these things out. There's somebody's little puppy's come for a visit, and Connie must be getting good at that bass. She's been playing it for sim hours now. And here's Matteo arriving. He and Connie are an item as well, and that relationship has gone way further than James and Mabel. I'm expecting a wedding in the next episode, although I don't think they're actually engaged yet, but they might be. I haven't checked. After enjoying Connie's beautiful music for a while, Matteo went upstairs to the garden. He's a gardener and he needed to do some work on their garden. The problem he's got here though is he's run out of seeds, so he's going to have to go to the greenhouse to see if he can find some suitable seeds to plant. So when he's finished planting what he's got, he'll head off to the stone's throw greenhouse that I have placed in the world, of course. It's where my go-to place for everything to do with gardening. Before he starts looking for seeds, Matteo needs to do something else. I've placed humble harvest stands from the alfresco market venue. There's 4 of them that I've placed in the stone's throw greenhouse, and I always do that. And I do it because the Sims can buy produce there, but they can also consign it. And Matteo's got a pocket full of produce that he's harvested, and he needs to put it up for sale. So he's using the humble harvest stands to consign his produce. I'll just show you one but he is going to go to all 4 of them and consign things You seem to be able to consign just about anything. You can buy books from it, and anything that I've ever tried to consign there has worked. And you get a lot of simoleons for it, but it doesn't really work very well if you have got a world where there's no other Sims. I found that out. You've got to have a population of Sims who will come and buy it. If your Sim's the only one in the world, nobody will buy anything that they consign. I rarely use the actual consignment stores. I have placed the Elixir consignment store in the world, and I think there's another consignment store in the world as well, but I rarely visit them. It's quite an event if I decide to go there. It's something special and unusual. I usually go with these Humble Harvest stands. When he'd finished consigning all of his produce, he went across to the main part of the greenhouse and started searching for seeds. And I think we will leave him at the greenhouse finding seeds, and we'll go back home and see what's happening there. It could be interesting. By the time James got home from work, he'd obviously been thinking about what to do, and he had his plans all worked out. He took the love of his life, his plant sim girlfriend, Mabel, out into the yard, and he gave her a bunch of flowers, which she accepted, and some flirting started. Oh, and then it was time for a dip kiss. Oh, where's he going with this? She was very happy about that. A little bit more flirting, getting up his courage. Let's stare into each other's eyes. Oh, down on one knee. What's she going to say? Oh, yes. They're engaged. Nothing stopping for a wedding now by the look of it. Big hug. This might be a good point to end the video. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, it might be a good idea to do that if you would like to see what happens next. And it would also help me a lot as well with the channel. So it's greatly appreciated when you subscribe and stay subscribed. And thank you very much for all of those of you who have subscribed already. So obviously in the next episode we're going to have some more romance. I haven't checked yet, but I have an idea that Matteo and Connie might have already got engaged before I moved in here with Don and the teenagers. So there's going to be 2 birthday parties for the 2 little girls. Matteo and Connie are already young adults, so they've just got to get married, and there are no teens in this household, so nobody's going to be aging up to young adult. There are teens in the household at the moment, but they're travelling with Dom. They don't belong here, so they don't count. They won't be aging up. I was going to move Mabel to Vice City, but now that she's going to get married to James, and I don't want to take James away from his children, I will leave this pair in this house, and they can look after the 2 teen girls that are going to be teens. They're children at the moment, and Don can escort Matteo and Connie to Vice City, and we'll have a little party there with all of the other residents so they get to know each other. Because I don't think that Matteo or Connie know any of the other Sims. They might have come across them because they were in Mountain Lakes for quite a while, and they haven't been to Moonlit Falls, to the main household. They came out of Donna's household, which she had before she met Gary, so they're not really a part of the original story, but they're fun. They've got involved because of Donna marrying Gary, and of course Gary is James's older brother. So that's it for now. Thank you for watching. I hope you are going to come back for the next episode. Bye bye for now, and happy simming.